Hey everybody, it's Mike. I'm back to do another show. Cult deprogramming, or whatever you want to call it, updating you all on the Hare Krishna cult and other things I want to talk about. So let's get into the intro. Here we go. Let's see. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, okay. So, Happy New Year. It's a new year. I think I did a show this year already, but it don't matter. Happy New Year. It's a great year to not be in a cult. And let's see, man. It's the Martin Luther King parade was in Los Angeles was postponed due to the fires, and it's been rescheduled for February. I don't know. February. Let me see. I'll look it up for you. Because I know you're dying to know. I guess it's February 10th? February 10th, I believe, is the new date. Although I'm not sure, but let me double check that. This is television, bad TV production. Okay, here we go. Bad TV production, 101. You should have this ahead of time, really. If you're going to talk about something, you should probably have it. You should probably do it ahead of time. Okay, let's see. We scheduled to February 17th. Okay, February 17th is like a month, a little less, 3 weeks or so. So I'm not going to stop talking about this until February 17th. In fact, I might do a show every day until February 17th, because this is bullshit. Why are the Hare Krishnas in the Martin Luther King Day Parade? I don't understand it. And then I'm going to talk about some other stuff, and I'm going to talk about some other stuff. First thing, though. Okay. So, I want to give a shout out to the Scientology protesters out there. Everybody who's protesting Scientology, I support you. I'm not going to name any names, but if you're protesting Scientology and your aim is to bring Scientology down, then I support you. I don't want to know anything about you. I mean, like, if I go to a protest, I've been to protests in LA. There were a couple protests that I went to. One was an abortion protest, a Women's Day protest for abortion or something. There was one, it was an immigration protest that I went to in LA years ago, like sometime when Trump was president. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't need to. There are probably a lot of people there that are probably bad people. You have people that maybe, did some bad things. And they were there at the protest, protesting overturning Roe v. Wade, or overturning whatever, banning Mexicans, or whatever it was. That everyone was out, we were all out protesting. There are probably some gang members there protesting. There are probably some, who knows? But I know that everybody there that was protesting wasn't like, they weren't like squeaky clean, perfect attendance, never had a parking ticket, never did anything wrong people. There's like 1 million people there. I didn't know anyone. But we were all there to protest whatever it was that we were protesting. And I didn't need to know. I didn't need to know who anybody was. I didn't care who anybody was. We were all there protesting Donald Trump, abortion, whatever it was, we were protesting. Muslim ban, or immigration ban, or whatever it was. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody who was there. I didn't know anybody. I didn't care to know. Didn't want to know. Same thing with Scientology. I don't need to know who everybody is that's protesting and what they did last Saturday, what they ate for dinner. I mean, hey, if they're doing like horrible stuff, then yeah, that comes out. Yeah, that's not good stuff. No. But I don't need to know the history. Protesting is not like a job application where you got to go through HR and submit a resume to am I qualified to protest? Oh, we're going to have to run a background check on you. See if you have any warrants or if you ever, yelled at somebody or, I don't know, jaywalk, whatever. Who cares? You trying to bring down Scientology? I'm with you. Because I want to bring down I want to bring down all these cults. Scientology, Hare Krishna. The people that are trying to end Hare Krishna, speaking out against Hare Krishna. I don't know who those people are. Doesn't matter to me who they are. If I find out that one of them, was running drugs from somewhere, okay. Are you trying to bring down Hare Krishna? Because that's my concern. So anybody that's trying to bring down Scientology, I'm with you 100%. All of you. And I don't need to know who your girlfriend is. I don't need to know if you broke up with her, and I don't need to know any of that. But if you are, and you do have a history of abusing women, and you have a history of mistreating people or whatever, well then yeah, maybe I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to go have a beer with you. I don't want to go, shoot the shit with you. But are you still trying to bring down the cult? Are you, So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Because I think sometimes, everybody's different. Everybody's different. Some people can separate the art from the artist, and some people cannot separate the art from the artist, and sometimes it just depends on what the hell you're trying to separate. Are you going to stop listening to Van Halen because David Lee Roth, I don't know, jaywalked? Probably not. Are you going to stop listening to David Lee Roth if you find out that maybe he was did some horrible things to some innocent people? Well, then maybe you might say, you know what? I can't listen to his music because all I think about is those things. That's everybody has to make up their mind. I personally, I don't watch Woody Allen movies. I was a big Woody Allen fan, but then once he went with his stepdaughter, married his stepdaughter, I kind of said, you know what? His art may be good, his movies may be good, but you know what? I really don't care. I'm not interested to see a movie that's made by such a person. That's all. But that's just me. A lot of people, they love Woody Allen, and they still love Woody Allen, and they don't care. And that's a judgment call that everybody has to make, and then that's like a judgment call that I have to make looking at someone else and go, well, you know, I wouldn't be buying, you know, Charlie Manson memorabilia and hanging it in my wall or in my house and go and expect to go, hey, isn't that cool? I've got, you know, I got this Manson thing. You know, I wouldn't expect people to, you know, get into it. I wouldn't expect people to get into it like that. It's a personal thing. So everyone's got to draw their line. You know, like if I had a friend that had like Manson memorabilia hanging in his, you know, he had like a, you know, I don't know, I might have to question that. You know, like, I don't know if I want to be, but that's, again, that's something that everybody else, that's, every individual has to, everybody has to make that. And you would think that some decisions are easier to make than others, but anyway, you know, it's a personal thing. So anyway, if you're protesting Scientology, I'm with you. I don't want to know your personal history, and it's not important. If you're protesting Scientology, you're protesting any cult, then keep doing that. And that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Keep doing that if you're protesting a cult. So, with that in mind, of course, Martin Luther King Day Parade is coming up, like I was saying, and the Hare Krishnas, they are in that parade every year. They've been in that parade every year since I was in the Hare Krishnas. And I don't know. Well, I do know. I have my ideas about how they got in there, because there are some Hare Krishnas that preached in the black community to make black devotees, and he was kind of had like a preaching center in South Central, and his goal was to get black people into the Hare Krishnas. And I'm sure that he played a part in getting the Hare Krishnas into the Martin Luther King Day Parade. There's no question in my mind. I mean, I don't have any proof, I don't have any evidence of that. But somehow they got in there. Somehow they weaseled their way in there. I know they weren't invited in by like, hey, you know, let's invite. Are there any cults we can invite in? Let's get the Scientology to march in the Kingdom Day Parade, and let's get the Hare Krishnas and the Jehovah's Witness. Why would the Hare Krishnas be in the Martin Luther King Day Parade? First of all, they're racist. So why would they even be in the Martin Luther King Day Parade, right? Well, I'll tell you. Prabhupada said in his books, he says, we need to claim the Negroes. We need to claim them. They're simple people, and we need to claim them. And I've gone over this before, and I'll show you again. Well, first of all, here's one. Here's one where the woman reporter says, this is 1975. This is not 1965. This is 1975. This is 1975. Nobody was using the word Negroes. Nobody was using nobody's using the word Negroes in 1975. Nobody was using the word colored in 1975. How do I know? I was there. I was there in 1975. I was 14. But yet, in 1975, here Prabhupada is saying, and the woman reporter asks him, the point is the Hare Krishna movement has been has been what some people would consider sexist or racist. What does he say? Certain propensities. Because certain propensities for women and for blacks have been defined either by the devotees or by the Vedic scriptures. I'm not sure which. And I wondered if you would comment on that. So he says, so then Brahmananda, who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, so he's probably, he's in his 20s. In 1975, he's probably 25, maybe 30 years old. He's not old school by any means. He definitely shouldn't be using the word Negroes, that's for sure. Let me just put it that way, okay? Unless he is, you know what I'm trying to say. So Brahmananda, because I met Brahmananda, I met him many times in India and in LA, many times. Brahmananda says, it has been alleged that our movement is against women and against Negroes, because we do not give them, what is it, woman reporter. Well, not necessarily against them, but defining inferior roles for them by their natural traits. Brahmananda, give inferior roles to women and to Negroes. So here Brahmananda uses the word Negroes because that's the word that Prabhupada uses. Now Brahmananda knows better. He's not. Brahmananda is not from, the 19th century. He wasn't born in 1899. He didn't grow up in the teens in the turn of the century. He didn't grow up in the turn of the century. Brahmananda is from New York. Brahmananda was one of these hippies that was hanging around in Tompkins Square Park, hanging around with Kirtanananda and his gay lover and being hippies in Tompkins Square Park. Brahmananda wasn't using the word Negroes. Brahmananda knew not to use the word Negro. What the hell is that? But here it is, 1975. Brahmananda is like, oh yeah, we're and so look, by 1975, so the Hare Krishna has been around since about 1965. Here it is, 1975. Brahmananda is using the word Negroes, and the woman reporter already knows. The Krishna has only been around 10 years. They already have a reputation of being racist and sexist, and this is in 1975. This is before the lawsuits, the brainwashing, the child abuse. This is before all that. She already knows and brings it up that the Hare Krishnas are racist and sexist. 1975, the Hare Krishnas are already being accused of being racist and sexist. And here Brahmananda confirms it by using the word Negroes. So then Prabhupada goes on to say, and this is what I find quite interesting, is that Prabhupada goes on to say, well, we give equal roles spiritually. Materially, one man is servant and one man is master. So let's just stop right there. So he says, spiritually we see people, everybody equal spiritually, not materially. So if you're disabled, you're less of a person. If you're black, you're less of a person. If you're a woman, you're less of a person. Materially, he's saying. He's saying not spiritually. He's saying materially. Well, you know what? Let's just pretend for a minute. Let's just pretend for a minute that there's no such thing as spiritually. There's only materially. So what he's doing is he's confirming the fact that yes, he's racist and sexist. I consider people, when I look at someone and they're not a Hare Krishna, they're not even as a devotee, and they're not a Hare Krishna, when I just look into the world and I see all these people, I make distinctions between race. One person is master, one person is servant. Women are inferior, men are superior, white men are superior to black men. That's what he's saying. When I look into the world, this is what I see. Materially, He admits it. He admits it right there, right there. He says, yes, we give equal roles spiritually, not materially. No. He says, materially, one man is servant, one man is master. Well, the next question is, well, materially, which man is the master and which man is the servant? He would have said, well, the white man, of course. Because why are they giving inferior roles in material? Why does he say materially? It's inferior. He says, we give equal roles spiritually. Materially, one man is servant and one man is master. He says, how can you avoid this? Well, you can avoid this by not being a racist. That's how you avoid it. How can you avoid this? Well, how do you think you avoid it? Do you think everyone is master? Nobody will be servant? Materially? Materially, one is father, one is son, one is master, one is servant, one is man, one is woman. How can you stop this? But spiritually, they are all equal. But actually, and spiritually, they're not all equal. Because she says to him, we'll go back to the original question that she says to him. The point is that the Krishna consciousness movement has been what some people would consider racist or sexist because of the propensities for women and for blacks have been defined either by the devotees or the Vedic scriptures. So she's saying materially, these propensities for women and blacks have already been defined in the scriptures. Whether they're Hare Krishnas or not, you already make these distinctions materially. And in the movement, it doesn't matter. Otherwise, you wouldn't be accused of being racist and sexist. But women were not allowed to be temple presidents. Blacks were not allowed to be temple presidents. Blacks weren't allowed to do anything. Unless they were really good at something, then they could be. And of course, they are good at everything. So, but very few blacks are joining. So, kirtan leader. They could. I don't know what. But the books say that blacks are inferior. And so somehow these black devotees that are joining have to come to terms with the fact that materially blacks are inferior. And that they only become equal to white people when they join the Hare Krishna movement. Then somehow they are spiritually equal, which is not true, because the movement wouldn't allow them to be equal. Prabhupada doesn't allow it. Oh, sure, they have black gurus, because if you want to claim the black people, like Prabhupada says, if you want to claim the black people, they're simple. Let's go claim them, just like we did in Detroit. We went and claimed them, and we got the good ones. I'll show you where he says that. Let's see. I don't know, there's so many. What does he say? I mean, you just do a search on Negro and it just comes up. Oh my goodness. Where's my guest? Where's my Negro friend? He has not come. Okay, what year is this? 1972. Prabhupada, oh, he has not come. There was no place in the car. There were many Negroes. Now, you would just think that, this pure devotee, this leader of a spiritual movement who's preaching love of God and everybody's equal spiritually and all this, would not make this distinction about Negroes so much. Here we go. Here's one. 1974. So this is one where this is one that really gets me. He says, so the guest says, so this Dr. Patel says to Prabhupada, I think Abraham Lincoln was the best of the whole presidents. What is your opinion of Abraham Lincoln? And Prabhupada's reply is, well, he gave the Negroes freedom. Now, and then Giri Raj says, yes, emancipation, and then Dr. Patel says, the Americans say he acted with Negroes, just we have acted with the Aboriginals, the Aryans, we have done with the poor Aborigines of India. And that's all Prabhupada says. So he says, and then Prabhupada says, so now they are envious. So anyway, that is Prabhupada's reaction to him saying, I think he's the best. And then Prabhupada's only one was he gave freedom. He gave the Negroes freedom. Abraham Lincoln. Like, you know, why? The Negroes from Detroit. So here, once again, Brahmananda, Brahmananda says, and again, this is in 1975, a conversation Prabhupada had with Brahmananda in 1975. So, and this is, so Ambarish. Ambarish is the grandson of Henry Ford, who was a great racist. So Ambarish is the grandson of Henry Ford, and he says, Ambarish says, the black people from Detroit. Now he would know because he's from Detroit, so he knows about. He's poisoned himself. So of course, he's the grandson of Henry Ford. Okay, he probably never came in contact with a black person. But anyway, let's just say it. So anyway, Ambarish says, the black people from Detroit, and then laughs. Brahmananda says, they come here? And Ambarish says, yes, it is a very dangerous park. And then Prabhupada says, no, black? And Brahmananda says, the Negroes from Detroit, they are the fierce animals that come here at night. And then Prabhupada says, they come? And Brahmananda says, yes. And Prabhupada says, at night, why? And Jagadish says, drink. And Brahmananda says, drinking and sex. And Prabhupada says, so why the Americans gave them freedom? So it sounds to me from that statement there that, you know, Prabhupada was for slavery. He was not. He didn't understand why the Americans freed these Negroes when they just caused problems, and they're fierce animals that come just for drinking and for sex. Now maybe there is, I want to be honest with you. Maybe there is a part of Detroit, maybe there's a part of Detroit, a bad part of Detroit, where a lot of black people go and hang out in the park and they drink and have sex. I understand that. I get it. But he's acting as if there is nowhere in the world where white people go, where it's dangerous, where white people could be. Like it's just not possible that there could be a part of town where it's dangerous for people to go because there are white gangs or white people. Like it wouldn't be safe for black people to go to a park in a white neighborhood where there's white people who don't want black people in their neighborhood. He acts like that doesn't exist. It's just the black people in this one. All black people act like these black people in this park that want to just come and have sex and drink and have sex in this park. It is just amazingly racist, and it's like over the top. And the reason why it's so over the top is because this is a spiritual movement that's supposed to be focusing on love of God. The Vedic scriptures are disgusting, and that's why they think this way. Because it's not about love of God. It's not about all peace and love and all of these things that they want you to think it is. It's conversations like this. It's conversations just like, if you want to know what Hare Krishnas talk about, when they're by themselves and they're just hanging out, talking, they talk like this. They talk racist, sexist shit. They talk about the blacks, the Negroes. They all they do is they repeat all of this crap. They repeat it because they think that this is friggin' the gospel. That everything Prabhupada said, thought, farted, or burped was the coming straight from Krishna. So if Prabhupada says that the black people come to this park to drink and have sex and they're drunkards, and if you build a library and they only come to drink and they're not going to come to read and they're only going to come to drink, then the Hare Krishnas, they believe that 100%. And there's nothing you can do to convince them that otherwise. Nothing. Hare Krishnas believe every word of this crap. Every single one of them does. To some extent. There's a degree that goes from like 50% to 100%. But nobody would be in it if you didn't believe at least a little bit of it. Otherwise, why are you in it? So yeah, I didn't believe a lot of this hardcore racist stuff. First, I didn't know about a lot of this hardcore racist stuff because this program where you just type in a word and all this shit comes up, it didn't exist. You had to actually read the books. You had to find some of these old out-of-print books and find them, buy them, and read them. So a lot. It wasn't so easy to just, let me see what Prabhupada says about Negroes and just type it in. Once this program became available in like the mid to late, I'd say the late 90s, the mid 90s that they developed this program, but it was really expensive. You had to buy it. Nobody had it because it was really expensive, and like who can afford? Hare Krishna can't afford this shit, so nobody had it. If you were lucky, you knew someone that had it, and you could maybe use it, borrow it. Then it came out on CD, but you still had to buy it. I mean, and it came out, and it was like on CD. And then eventually, not until, I don't know when they put it online. It was after I left that it became available online. Because when I was looking this stuff up, I was looking it up on a version that was on CD. It was a whatever CD. And I was looking this stuff up on a program. That was it was a pirated program, but anyway. All this stuff about the Negroes. Simply drunken Negroes, he says. Here's one. Here it is. So here, this is what Prabhupada thinks about the Negroes. And this, again, this is from 1977. 1977, folks. May 1927. Prabhupada says, simply the drunken Negroes. Call them. Take prasadam. Chant Hare Krishna, you drunken Negroes. Tamal, we can put Bhakti John there because he's very fond of preaching, you know. Bhakti John, he's always wanted to go. He's always wanted to go where? He's always wanted to go to Harlem. Prabhupada, yes, then we can deliver them. They are, after all, simple, these Negroes. They are, after all, simple. We have to claim them. Claim them. You have got now experience in Detroit. They are very good behaving Negroes. They come to our temples. Nobody could drive there. Therefore we could acquire that house so cheap. That's what Prabhupada says. That's why Prabhupada made gurus. That's why he made Prabhupada, black people, black devotees could become gurus. Sudam, Bhaktatirtha, a couple others. I was racist as hell. And so, you know, I could do this. I could go on and on with all these things that Prabhupada says about simply the drunken Negroes. Will they read? They'll go for drinking. A library? Drunken Negroes won't go to a library. Simply drunken Negroes, he says. Take good attention to the Negroes, and they will come out good devotees. So this is what Prabhupada... I could go on. I could just... So many things. There's the one where he tells Satsvarup, you don't repeat this stuff in public. He says, oh, if somebody knew what we were saying about the Negroes, everybody would hate us. Every black person in America would hate us. That's what Tamal said. He said, if they really knew what you thought, Prabhupada, every black person in America would hate us. Now, why would Tamal say that? And they let these people march in the Martin Luther King Day Parade. He calls them drunks. He calls them rapists. He says, well, I read it to you. It makes fun of Abraham Lincoln for freeing the slaves. He says now they've given them civil rights and all they do is cause problems. Why would you do that? Prabhupada was openly racist. He didn't care. He did not care. He was openly racist. Didn't care about it. He said right there in the first thing that I read, spiritually they're equal, but materially, one's master, one's servant. She is talking about black people, and he's talking about master and servant. After the history of black people in America, 400 years of slavery, or 400, 250 years of slavery, and then 400 years of slavery, and whatever it is, it's going on to this day. It's not like it was a thing of the past. She's talking about racism in his movement, and he immediately says, well, materially, one is master and one is servant. Now, who's he talking about? Who the hell do you think he's talking about? And he says, this is natural. Just like man and woman. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what he's saying? Do you understand that he's like a total white supremacist? He thinks that slavery was okay. He thought Abraham Lincoln was wrong for freeing the slaves. He thought they should not have gotten civil rights, that they're just drunkards and whatever. And then he turns around and says, well, we can claim them, like a plantation owner saying, let's get those Negroes over there and have them do all the work for us. That's what he's saying. He's saying, let's go get the Negroes. He didn't even have the courtesy to say blacks or African Americans. So, let me see. I was going to show this video, but I found a different video. And so I wanted to show this other video because I've never seen it. And I thought I could react to it because it looks interesting. So I'm going to jump right in there. I'll talk about Martin Luther King as it comes up and whatever, but I want to focus on this new video that I just found, and I want to share it, and I want to see what's going on with it. And let me see. Let me see what we can do here. I don't know who this is. I don't know his story. But we're all gonna find out together what's up with this guy. Let me see.
Namaste. I hope everybody's okay, and it's nice to see you guys again. So this video is about why I left the Hare Krishnas, and as some of you know, I was part of the Hare Krishna movement for at least, I'd say 20 years, quite a long time. So I'm basically going to give the reasons why I left, and yeah, we're just going to get into it. So let's have a look. So when I because obviously I'm a proud member of the LGBT community, and when I used to be at the temple, I actually became a monk with the Hare Krishnas, and I did learn a lot with them, and I sort of lived with them as well for about 6 months. So yeah, here we go then. So whilst I was at the temple and I was with them and I was following all the regular principles and I was chanting the 16 rounds and everything, I came across some information of a another group that was also part of their faith that actually supported LGBT people, and so they were like a offshoot of the same group, and they were called Galva, and they supported the LGBT community. So I basically offered to put this book into their library, into the Manchester temple, and the head priest told me that they didn't want that, and that um, that was inappropriate. They didn't want the book there. So I took that as blatant homophobia, basically. Um, so that was one of the reasons that made me think, well, this is not the right thing to be involved with. I'm not going to be part of something that doesn't, deep down accept me for who I am. So that was that. And actually, majority of human beings are bisexual. So when you go around telling people you can't have sex, and you
Okay, so I want to stop right there for a minute because I want to comment on this because that's what this is. Um, he's talking about this organization called Galva, and so Galva stands for Gay and Lesbian Vaishnav Association. So it's supposed to be this gay, like a political action committee, like a gay community association within ISKCON. But I don't know how that works because ISKCON doesn't allow homosexual behavior. So you can't really be gay in the Hare Krishnas. And that's what it's like. Again, I don't understand. Well, I do understand. It's a cult. And when you're stuck in a cult, in this cult mind frame, you don't make sense. You don't make sense to yourself. But look, Prabhupada says Hare Krishna, the gays, homosexuals are born from the anus of Lord Brahma, and they're demoniac. And when they were born, they attacked him and tried to have sex with him. And he went and he prayed to Lord Vishnu, please save me from these demons who are trying to eat me and have sex with me. And then Lord Vishnu, whatever, saved him. And Prabhupada explains how they're demoniac and they're this and they're that and they're bad, and no sane person would involve themselves with homosexuality, and homosexuality is this and that. And it's not just one place where Prabhupada says it in his books. It's everything Prabhupada says in his books. He says it throughout his books. He repeats it over and over and over like a broken record. Women are less intelligent. Black people are less intelligent and third class and should have been slaves. Little girls should be married. Gopis were the best. They were 11 years old. Women need to be married and be subservient to their husband. These are the holy name is no non-different than Krishna. These are the main themes that run throughout Prabhupada's books, over and over and over and over and over and over again. You can't turn a page without one of those topics coming up. So they have this gay and lesbian Vaishnava association. How does that work? Because Prabhupada says gays and lesbians that's demoniac. It's mental. It's not right. They're demons. And yet Prabhupada let homosexuals in his movement. Kirtanananda, he made him a guru. The guy went on to molest a bunch of little boys. Bhavananda, same thing. Why? If homosexuality is so bad, came from Lord Brahma's ass, and they're so demoniac, and no sane man would, and blah, 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 blah. Why? Why did he let Hayagriva edit his Bhagavad Gita? Hayagriva and Kirtananda were lovers, gay lovers, and Prabhupada knew it. Like they're hiding it from him. Prabhupada knew. He just told him you can't have sex. But that doesn't change anything. That's like saying, I'm a heterosexual man, but if I'm not having sex, I'm not heterosexual? What do I become if I'm not having sex? Am I now homosexual? No, it doesn't work that way. I'm heterosexual. If I'm not having sex, I'm still heterosexual. If this guy's gay and he's not having sex, he's still gay. It's not like he's not gay anymore because he's not having gay sex. He's still gay. How many gay guys I met in the Hare Krishna? How many gay gurus there are? How does that happen? How are you sitting there reading a book that's telling you that you are a demon because you want to have gay sex? And so you're just like, well, I'm not going to have gay sex. But you know you're gay. This guy knows he's gay. These guys know. They know that they can't just be like, oh, I'm not gay anymore. So they formed an association. They said, look, we deserve to be, we deserve to be gay and lesbian and be in the Hare Krishnas. Like we deserve, why can't we be gay? Why can't we be lesbian? Heterosexuals can be in the movement, and they don't have to stop being heterosexual. Then they can have sex if they want to have kids. If they want to have sex, they can have sex. And you know what? They're not having sex for kids. They're having sex. Don't kid yourself. Seriously, don't kid yourself. But back to the point is, so these gay and lesbians are like, well, why can't we? Why can't we be? So they form their own association to put pressure on ISKCON. And ISKCON's like, what the hell are you talking about? Just don't be gay. And we're not tolerating your crap, and you're not putting your books in our library, and we're not selling your books, and you're not allowed to be part of that gay and lesbian thing, and if you are part of it, get the hell out of here. That's the reality of it. But why would they stay? If they're not wanted, you're not wanted. You're not wanted. Same thing with blacks and women. You're not wanted. You're treated like shit. Why are you there? They got women's groups, the women's Vaishnav, because they got to deal with all this friggin' misogyny and sexism, and so the women got to get together and they got to fight that shit. And the gays and the lesbians got to get together and fight that shit. Because they're not treated the same. They're not treated. Gay guys can't be gay, and you think if this guy wanted to dress up like a woman, with a sari, he could do that? And I'm not saying that that's like every gay guy wants to do that. I'm not implying that. I'm saying he doesn't have the freedom to do that. He doesn't have the freedom to be gay. He doesn't have the freedom to be who he wants to be. So they got to make their own organization. It's ridiculous. I mean, I understand where they're coming from, but I mean, it's just. I mean, you got to just go look. If you like bacon, then maybe Islam isn't for you. I mean, if you got a choice, I mean, if you're going down the list of religions to join, and you see one that says, and you're gay and you like bacon, and you see one that says, oh, you can't be gay and you can't eat bacon, why would you join that one? Hey, how you doing? Sorry, I just saw your message now. Um, glad to see you there. Why would you join that one? If you have the freedom to join, like when I started hanging around the Hare Krishnas, like I was smoking pot, and they're telling me you can't get intoxicated. I'm like, well, I want to get intoxicated. Well, you can't. Well, why? Because of the rules. But I don't understand. Then you find out. Then I'm like, well, this kind of sucks. And then I find out that everybody is doing something. I met so many Hare Krishnas that were smoking pot, that were selling pot, that were smoking cigarettes. That's even worse than smoking pot. Smoking cigarette, drinking, having sex, having illicit sex. People that Yashoda got married, and I know he's having sex with this woman. She's not even a devotee. Not that she needs to be, but she's not a devotee, and he's supposed to be some swami. And he's been in the movement since when the guy like in the movement for 35 years. He's a swami. He can't control himself. He can't. Like you're doing shit too. Like who's not doing something? You go, oh, these gurus are falling down. I'm surprised that when they tell me that one hasn't fallen down. I'm going, he just never got caught. He never got caught doing something. Because they're all doing something. And it doesn't matter whether it's something like smoking pot or you go, well, smoking pot is violating the four regulative principles. Well, there's not just four regulative principles. There's all kinds of things that Prabhupada says you're not supposed to do. After the age of 50, you're not supposed to get married. After this or that, you're not supposed to do this. We get married, you're not supposed to get divorced. And you do this, you're not supposed to have children or that. I mean, there's a million friggin' rules. And those rules are no different than any other rule. They are in Prabhupada's books. They are the law, as they like to say. And you go, well, wait a minute. I mean, I went up to, they told me, let's go up to Badger. There's a Hare Krishna community up in Badger. It was like Breaking Bad, okay? It was a trailer park full of drug dealers and drug manufacturers. One of the guy's trailers we were supposed to go to this guy's trailer to get some weed, to buy some weed. And they raided him because he was making meth. It was like a trailer park. And they're like, oh, we can't score from him because he got raided. Because there was no Breaking Bad back then, but he was Breaking Bad. He was the guy cooking it up in his. So you got Hare Krishnas doing this stuff. You got Hare Krishnas that are molesting kids. You got Hare Krishnas that are doing all kinds of, and it's like that's no different than. I mean, a lot of that is a lot different. A lot of it is worse than me smoking a joint or Sarvabhauma drinking a beer. They talk about Sarvabhauma because he would drink beer and get drunk, and he would come around the temple, and he used to be this Sarvabhauma, Prabhupada disciple, selling books, #1 book distributor. He was the guy who figured it all out and did all this, and now he's just a drunk on the street, and they talk shit about him like he was a. Meanwhile, they're not any better than him. He's just living in a motorhome, getting drunk in a motorhome. Meanwhile, these guys are doing all kinds of shit right there in the temple apartments. I'm saying they're talking shit about Sarvabhauma drinking a beer, but they're letting the guy that molested my daughter can live in the building. And he told me, well, there's nothing we can do. He hasn't broken any law. He hasn't been arrested or anything. He hasn't been convicted of anything. Well, neither has Sarvabhauma, but you talk about him like he's a friggin' piece of shit. But the child molester gets a pass.
You can't be yourself, then that is going against the majority of majority of people on the planet Earth. So yeah, good luck with that one, guys. Also, the guy that actually goes around with choking around in the Manchester, and you'll see the big signs around Manchester in white on the walls all around Manchester. You'll see it, and actually, I don't know, probably doing it in other parts of the country as well. And they just write Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. And the same guy that I saw doing that around Manchester was seen at the temple, at the Hare Krishna temple in Manchester, and he was doing the Hail salute, the Adolf Hitler Hail salute, and I was like, does this guy support Hitler? It was very, very creepy, and I just thought to myself, this is crazy. And then I found out.
Okay, so the Hitler thing, obviously Prabhupada supported Hitler. Prabhupada praised Hitler. Prabhupada was a Holocaust denier. Prabhupada was basically, he called Hitler a gentleman. He said that Hitler had nuclear weapons, but he was too nice. He wouldn't use them. But the Americans were the bad guys and used the atomic weapons, and Hitler was the good guy who didn't use atomic weapons. Prabhupada was just insane when it comes to history and world history like that. But anyway, this praise of Hitler and this praising of Hitler, if Prabhupada did it, then I got to do it too. And this guy saw it, and I got to say, it sounds like this guy had some personal issue that he had on his own. It doesn't sound like he came to any conclusions about Prabhupada's teachings, which maybe he has or he will. It sounds more like he just had a clash as far as being gay in the Hare Krishnas. Let's see.
That the leader of that organization, Prabhupada, was openly supporting Hitler, which was really disturbing. And he was saying, how the Germans were the chosen race, and that the Aryan race was actually originally Indian or something, and that they were very intelligent, and that and he was literally, if you type it into YouTube or online or Google or wherever, or EcoAsia or wherever else search engines you follow, just type in Prabhupada and Hitler, and you'll see the audios there. So it's very disturbing. And the other reason, other issues that a lot of issues that I sort of identified whilst with them for all these years. I had experiences of eating, so they claim that their food is vegetarian, and I had several experiences when I was amongst them in their private dealings in their homes and things like that. And I almost tasted the taste of fish. And I asked them, why can I taste the taste of fish? Oh, it's God, Krishna, he is actually, he's actually testing you and things like that. And I just sort of accepted it. I just thought, oh, maybe God is trying to remind me that I used to eat meat or something, all this nonsense. But actually, I think it was fish. And then I had another experience where I tasted, they had kidney bean curry or something, and it tasted like kidneys, because I come from a Muslim background, so I know what kidneys tasted like, and I'm not sort of proud of that. I was like, I was brought up in a Muslim, meat-eating family, and so I knew what kidneys tasted like, and I was shocked to taste the same taste of that meaty taste, the same taste of kidneys. And that's not the same taste as kidney beans, and I had several of these experiences, and I couldn't understand why that was happening. And it was very disturbing, to be honest. And moving on from that, the name Das, which is when the devotees or the Hare Krishnas are actually initiated, they take on the name Das, D-A-S, Das, which actually means slave, and they openly in the temple would say that we are all we're slaves to God, we're slaves to Krishna, and they would openly say this, and again that was kind of like a very disturbing thing to to believe, to take on, that we're all slaves to God. The other big reason that again that I left was that they continuously reminded me of, they kept saying women were belonged in the kitchen, that women's duty was in the kitchen, and the women were less intelligent, and men are more intelligent apparently. Even though I think I raised it with them once, that I said, well, actually, there's been women who've actually been working with NASA, the space agency in America, and I don't think they would never answer the question. So actually, that was another thing as well. Every time you ask them questions, genuine questions, they would always sort of like, they wouldn't answer them, or they would just, and if you were persistent they would say, oh well, you're being aggressive, you need to be more polite, and you need to be more submissive, and basically what that means is that they wanted you to be just submissive and actually take whatever they're saying, and they didn't want you to question things, and they didn't want you to say things in the temple in front of the group, and they didn't like it basically. So that was that. And there was a TV debate in New York actually with the devotees, so you can actually type it in, brainwashing. And they openly say, yeah, brainwashing. They say that we need to wash our brains, and that the chanting helps you with the brainwashing, and they turn the negative into a positive. And this is a typical trait of the reptilian race, where they're very manipulative. And I found that it was extremely manipulative, extremely manipulative. And the constantly being hypocritical, saying one thing but then sort of constantly contradicting themselves. That's it, constantly contradicting themselves, like a lot of the religions do. Um, and they would encourage sleep deprivation. They would say that their leader was without sleep. He would go without sleep. It was like Thatcher. A Prabhupada, the leader, was like Thatcher. He would have only a few hours of sleep, or probably less than even a few hours of sleep, and they would encourage that, and I would follow this, and I would go without sleep, and then obviously I would hallucinate during the day or something, and then I would have experiences where I may have had a vision, and I would think that that was a religious experience, and it wasn't. I was just hallucinating. Um, and they would encourage the sleep deprivation, and it's absolutely disgusting to be encouraging sleep deprivation in people. But then they would contradict themselves by saying, oh, I can't work till 10 p.m. because I don't want to be losing out on sleep. So there's this constant contradiction and being hypocritical, and I constantly found that over these years. Oh, that's it. And there was another issue that I had. So I had an injury, and I had to go to hospital. It was a serious injury, and not one of the devotees came to see me in the hospital. And I found that really, it was quite hurtful, really, because you think, well, people who claim to be religious and people who claim to be spiritual would actually come and show some compassion, and there was no compassion at all. There was no concern. There was no sort of anything like that. And I think they must have treated me like, oh well, he doesn't come regularly. He's not sort of, he comes occasionally, because I didn't go every time. I'd go occasionally and things like that. Um, so that was that. Um, yeah, so found that very cold and calculated, and yet they would say that their God, Krishna, was actually, that we have a personal relationship with him, and that this was the main thing that would set them apart from all the other religions. But that was exactly what Christianity said. Christianity says, we have this personal relationship with God, and that chanting would actually bring you and then once you're chanting all these rounds, literally chanting for like nearly 2 hours in the early hours, around 5 a.m. 4. You wake up at 4 a.m. You wake up at 3 a.m. and then you do all the prayers at 4 a.m. and then you start chanting at 5 a.m. and you'd be up all these hours, and they would encourage it and they would say it's a business thing, and that that we should be, if we're going to be successful in businesses, then we'd have to wake up early in the morning, and this would happen to, they'd encourage their children to do the same, to get up early in the morning. So it was, it was just a horrible thing to go through. The oh, that's it. There was this. They had this. So obviously, you'd have to go along outside, and you'd have to preach. That was the main thing. You have to preach, and the leader was like, "We need to preach. We need to go out. We need to actually get more members. We need to get as many people as possible." And so the main thing that would attract people was the music. They would have to play loud cymbals. They would have to play loud drums. They would chant out loudly, make singing, and use instruments, and it was very loud. And so, and they had this sort of orange robes, and cut your hair down and all that. And
Okay, so everything he's saying is he's right on, and a lot of people do leave for the reasons that he's saying. He's saying, look, it's not what I thought it was. They ain't treating me right. They're hypocritical, among other things. I mean, he's got a long list of grievances, and everyone is valid, absolutely. Especially when he says, "Hey, I thought there'd be more coming from a spiritual organization, a group that's preaching love of God and all of this stuff." But I don't think he even knows like the history. I don't think he realizes about the gurus, about the original 11 gurus that all. One guy got his head chopped off. The ones that left with women and money and guns and drugs and whatever else, and other people's wives, and the killing of devotees and murder and assassinations and burying bodies under a river in West Virginia, and I know he probably doesn't know about the child marriages and the little girl that was raped behind the festival by the kirtan leader, who then just went back up on stage to go perform some more, and then she got married off by her crazy mom who married her to some guy who took her to India, and that's just one girl's story. There's thousands of stories. He didn't know any of that. At least I don't think he does. Otherwise, why wouldn't he have brought that up first? Why wouldn't he have brought up the pedophilia? He would have said, I left this movement because I'm gay and I didn't feel comfortable in this movement that's homophobic and that doesn't treat gays right. But when he was talking about the women and the sexism and the racism and the slavery, why wouldn't he bring up the pedophilia and say, hey, a bunch of their gurus molesting children, a $400 million child molestation lawsuit that these guys lost. And nobody's ever been to jail for it. And one of their gurus was molesting all these little boys in India. And another guy was molesting little boys in West Virginia. And all these kids that were abused and tortured in the school. And all the places in the books where the founder talks about blacks and women and 11-year-old girls getting married, and how underage girls need to be married to 25-year-old men. He hasn't brought up any of that. He was in it for 15 years. He said 15 years. I was in it for 20. He was in it for 15. How does he not know all that? How does he not know all the stuff that I've learned over the years? How does he not know about Hare Krishna? Prabhupada doing snuff every night. How does he not know about all the time? He said you can look up Hitler. He said he knows about the Hitler stuff. He knows enough to turn them off. But it sounds like, I'd have to watch the rest of it, and I'll watch the rest of it on another time because I'm going to end it here. But from what I've seen of him, it sounds like he had a hard time dealing with it, and he just said, you know what, this religion is not for me. I don't think he even knows the bullet that he dodged. I don't even think he knows what a disgusting, creepy, filthy, rotten, scummy cult he was part of. I don't think he has any idea. I have to watch more to find out, and we'll do that on another part 2 of finding out what's up with this guy. But I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna fit. Well, wanted to show you that one video, but I can't find it now, and it's not. It's well. Maybe I can find it. Let me see. Let me see. Um, okay, here it is. So I'm gonna show this as the going away present. Can all. I'm gonna end it on this, and this is never question Prabhupada, and this is skeptic perspective. This person makes some great videos. Check them out, and you'll learn a lot about the Hare Krishnas. Excuse me. Let me get this going here.
Nescafe แจกภาพหน้าจอมงคล5 หมวดออกแบบเฉพาะคุณสแกนเลย
When you read or hear Prabhupada say that black people have a smaller brain and that women are less intelligent, this is going to cause problems today. We must remember the milieu and the time in which Srila Prabhupada was manifest on this planet as a Victorian. As a Victorian, you know, and he was raised and went to Scottish Church, University, and all that. That man was from a different time, even on a material manifestation.
Okay, so he's saying that he's being sarcastic because they don't care about that. What he's saying is some people will say these things as an excuse, but actually this doesn't even work as an excuse for some people. This guy doesn't believe this, but this doesn't even work as an excuse because Prabhupada lived in our world. He may have been born in 1899 or 1889 or whatever, and he may have gone to school in 1910. But he lived through. He lived until 1977. So he had a lot of years to catch up. He had a lot of time to catch up. Most people catch up. Most people don't learn something and then at 80 years old think that what they learned 80 years ago still holds true. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, you know, depends on what it is that you're learning. I probably had a lot of time to catch up. Probably knew women didn't have smaller brains. He probably knew that intelligence is not based on brain size. Probably knew that. It wasn't dumb. So, but anyway, that's not even the point because he doesn't care about that. That's not the point he's making. He makes his point at the end.
As a Victorian, you know, and he was raised and went to Scottish Church, University, and all that. That man was from a different time, even on a material manifestation. But I just am not gonna question Srila Prabhupada.
And so that's the point. That's the real issue, is that they don't question him. They don't question anything, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what Prabhupada says. It doesn't matter when he said it. It doesn't matter why he said it. It doesn't matter how he said it. They do not question him. So when Prabhupada says women have small brains and are less intelligent, women have small brains and are less intelligent. When Prabhupada says that black people are drunks and they only care about sex and getting drunk, they believe it. That's the truth. When it says that 11-year-old girls should be married to 25-year-old men, that's what they believe. That's what they believe. And if you cannot question it, just like the guy was saying. If you question too much, I mean, you can question. Hey, I read where Prabhupada says 11-year-old girls make the best brides. I don't think that's right. What do you think? And then they tell you. They tell you what to think. Oh, well, Prabhupada knew better because Prabhupada is from that age. And that's in the Vedas. And because Prabhupada's a pure devotee, and Prabhupada knows how to read the Vedas, what Prabhupada says is right. And so you need to just accept what Prabhupada says, and don't worry about it. Okay, they expect the conversation to end there. If the conversation doesn't end there, and you say, well, I don't know if I accept that answer, then it's like, oh, well, now you're being offensive. And you can either beg forgiveness for your offenses, or you can take a hike. But they don't expect you to take a hike, okay? Because they figure that you're in 100%. You're not going anywhere. If it's gotten to that point, they don't think you're leaving. And you don't think you're leaving. So when push comes to shove, they don't think you're going. They didn't think I was leaving. They told me, you need to do this, and you need to do that. And if you don't, we're going to come down and kick your ass. And we'll kick your ass right in front of the temple. We'll meet you right in front of the temple. We'll kick your ass right in front of the temple. That's what happens. So then at that point, you either go, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I'm sorry, or you bounce out. You face the facts. This is not the spiritual movement that you thought it was. This homophobic, racist, pedophile cult that says 11-year-old girls are the best thing in the world, and that every 25-year-old man should have an 11-year-old. This is the Hare Krishna movement. There's no room for gay men in a movement that wants to marry off 11-year-old girls to 25-year-old men. You can, if you want to give up being gay, you can be a brahmachari for the rest of your life, but that's about it. Disgusting. So anyway, okay, so that's how they do it. They don't question Prabhupada. You cannot question Prabhupada. They have you emotionally and spiritually held hostage because you think you're on the spiritual path. It's the only spiritual path. It's the real spiritual path. It's the correct and authentic spiritual path. It's the Vedic path. So it's like, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? They figure they got you. So it's emotional blackmail the whole time. They emotionally blackmail you because, and that's what they do with these kids that grew up in it. Growing up in it is even worse because they have no idea that leaving is not an option. Just like these gay and lesbian. Leaving is not an option to them. They'd rather create their own group to fight the homophobia in the cult than just leave the cult. How about you just leave the cult and just go be gay in the real world where you can be gay? Why not do that? Why fight with this cult that's telling you you're a demon? I mean, that's the cult. That's the manipulation. That's just one aspect of it. But you can see how it's all tied together. It's one big fucking disgusting ball of shit with racism and sexism, misogyny and pedophilia, all together. Ugh. All right, everybody. That's that's it for today. I'm going to end it on that one. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to try to get this message out about these Hare Krishnas in the Martin Luther King Day Parade. Get them out of it, and then let me see. Do I have a commercial? Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks. I'm going to see if I'm going to throw this one at you and have you watch this one. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
และกลับเข้าสู่ My Madhouse ทาง bkk1radio.com
I'm smart, not like everybody says. But no, I'm smart and I want respect.
I'm staying. Finishing my coffee. Enjoying my coffee.
And now, more of Mike's Madhouse on BKK1Radio.com.
Bitter, baby. There's more here than meets the eye. Yes,
It's Mike's Madhouse on BKK1Radio.com.
And now it's time for the Dumb American on Mike's Madhouse.
Man, I can't believe we can't find no grass nowhere, man.
That's because too many people are smoking it. It really makes it tough on the rest of us.
Back to dope tunes and stupid talk with White Boy Mike on Mike's Madhouse.
Attention all units, attention all units, this is Sergeant Stadenko. Attention all units, this is Sergeant Stadenko. We are changing from a Code 3 direct pursuit to a Code 347. Completely lost due to incompetence.